Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started here and just talk about travel tips for safety, for travel expenses, and also for travel health. So one of the first things that I want to point out to everyone, I've seen a couple of different posts on LinkedIn where there are other speaking professionals and people who do 90% of their job is to actually travel. And it's been kind of interesting because they have talked about how now, because travel has changed so much, that they are now in a position where they actually have to do backup tickets, not only for their airfare, but also for rental cars as well on different airlines, like buying another ticket for backup because they have to get to wherever they're going. And they can actually, if it's something that they can't get, if they get bumped to another flight and they could miss their speaking gig or miss whatever it is that they're going to be doing. So just as extra insurance, that is something that they're doing. And unfortunately, I feel like we live in that world right now where logistically we do have to be really careful with our travel and our bookings because the airlines, clearly there's still a lot of cancellations that are going on for different reasons. It's weather related. They don't have the staff, which that's been going on for quite some time. They don't have the pilots or the flight attendants to be able to actually pilot some of the actual flights that they have. So there's a multitude of reasons that are filtering into this. I do not feel this is going to change anytime soon. So some of the things that I'm going to share with you today are just some tips and tricks that other people have shared with me, some of the things that I do, and then just some other websites for reference. So as you can see, right now we're on the American Airlines page. What I would tell you with airlines is to pick an airline that you really like, you've had good success with. I don't care if it's Southwest, Delta, American, or Spirit, whatever airline it is. If you've had good success with them, you have good, there's brand loyalty there. They've always taken care of you when things have happened or gone awry, then that is your main airline that you want to stick with. Myself personally, I like American Airlines. I have always flown on American. So of course, you can sign up for Advantage miles like they have here. It's free to do that. Most airlines have that where you can earn additional miles. You can trade them in. You can get upgrades. There's all sorts of things that you can do with the mileage program. So first and foremost, take advantage of that because that in itself is a really good benefit. But two, keep in mind that if you are at a certain level with, American or with Delta or even with United, and something goes wrong, you get booted from your flight, they're trying to reschedule a lot of people, you typically are going to get preference, just like first class passengers will. So there's a lot of benefit to that. So I would recommend you look at that and sign up for that so you have an actual advantage, mileage account, and you can reference that every time you book your tickets. So that's number one. Secondly, I would also suggest do not go for refund or non-refundable tickets. I know that there's a lot of times people think, oh, well, I'll get a really good deal. Maybe I'm only getting paid $500 to go speak at this event, or I'm not getting paid at all, and I need to save as much money as I can in the long run. And unfortunately, that risk of something going wrong and you having to, have your flight canceled or something happening, you don't want to play it cheap in this regard because it's actually going to cost you on the end. I've seen a lot of people who like to use Expedia or Priceline, and I have an Expedia account. I don't use it that often. They do have a rewards program as well, but I don't recommend booking through these because they are based on price. They're trying to get you the cheapest price. But again, when something goes wrong or you have to change your travel plans, it's going to cost you. Now, if you have booked through Expedia or you do like Priceline and you want to continue to book through them because that's what you're comfortable with, then that's fine. What I would suggest though is that when you have to your flight gets canceled or you can't go to your event, something comes up, I would recommend do not go through these discounted sites to cancel or postpone. You need to go directly through the airline, hotel, or the actual rental car company that you were going to get. So if it was an Avis rental, you need to call Avis directly. This way you'll at least get a credit for future use that you can use towards a future trip. Expedia has a standard policy, as does Priceline, that they do not do refunds. They're not, unless you're part of one of their elite programs where you're paying for it, I think they have an option there. But just to be on the safe side, I recommend calling the airline directly or the hotel directly or the rental car company directly. Typically, you're going to get your money back, or, if not, they're at least going to give you a credit so you can use that during your next stay. I am not a fan of these sites, as I have stated before. I think with every airline, hotel, and even rental car company, you need to find brand loyalty, meaning you're going to stay loyal to that brand. They will recognize that. So when things do go wrong, you can get rebooked pretty quickly or get a refund, and it's a much easier transition. Again, we're seeing more and more of this, and again, not through a fault of your own or even through the event or through where you booked or how you booked, but unfortunately with the staff shortages that airlines are experiencing and the delays, weather delays, and all of the different things that are also culminating into that. I don't think it's going to get any better. I do think it's going to get worse. So if you are brand loyalty, meaning you sign up for the rewards program, that's the one airline that you use or one rental car company or hotel, you're going to have much, much, much better success and a much easier time making changes. So if you want to use Expedia, you can. They are same thing with Priceline. It's all about the price. But again, playing it cheap will cost you in the end every time. So my airline of choice, again, is American. So that's who I fly with. Whether you want to do Delta, Southwest, or if you want to do United, another thing I would recommend after signing up for the rewards program, and this is a little controversial for a lot of people, but I want to disclose this and how I typically travel, which has saved me a lot of time and a lot of aggravation. And I'm going to share a few stories about that. But I typically, unless I cannot get it, I am always booking a first class ticket. Now, yes, that costs more money. Why do I do that? There's several reasons. So I'm going to run through the list very quickly. Number one, with a first class ticket, you can get 2 bags. You can take 2 bags at no charge. So usually everything I need to take with me, I usually only have 1 bag, but if it's an extended trip and I need to take additional equipment with me, I can have both of those bags, stored for free. I usually go in, I don't carry on those bags. I do not put myself through that. I don't put my body through that. And I would recommend that if you buy a first class ticket, all you have to do is go up to the concierge counter. You have a first class ticket. You can get through that line so quickly. They'll take very good care of you. They'll make sure that your luggage gets there. You can track it. You'll want to download their app too. So if you're on American Airlines, download the app on the phone. You can track your luggage as you travel if you're doing a connecting flight. Now, I know a lot of people say, I don't like to do that. I want to carry my bags on because Delta or United or Eastern or whoever I flew with 10 years ago lost my bags. Well, get over it. That happened one time. Can it happen again in the future? Yes, but we're so far advanced with the technology that, again, you can see this, you can see where your luggage is going. They're able to pull it if you get booked on a different flight. So I have had 0 issues with that. So I highly recommend, if you do that. The other thing is with flying first class is you're going to get more points. So you rack up those points. They'll even, I've had it where American has sent me, hey, you have 6 first class upgrades. So if something happens where I can't get a first class ticket, I'm the first one in line for an upgrade, which is nice. Sometimes I get it, sometimes I don't. But they do recognize that I'm typically a first class traveler. The other thing is too, for those of you who maybe have back problems, neck problems like I do, or, just your bones hurt when you travel, you do get better, more seating, much more comfortable seats in first class. So that is also going to help you. I find with that, I have less issues with my back by the time I land and get to where I need to go. It's a much more smoother trip. The other thing that happens is, again, I go back to the first priority. There was one time I was flying back from Nashville and they had mechanical difficulties with the plane. So they had loaded us up. We couldn't take off. So they unloaded us and they had all of us that they had to put back on other flights. And there were only so many flights flying into Orlando that day on American. So while we were waiting to see if the plane was actually going to get fixed, I called the customer service for my American or the Advantage number, and I told them what was going on. So they went ahead and they reserved a first class ticket for me on another flight that left like an hour or two afterwards. So that way, either way, I was covered. Now that is typically not something that they're going to do for somebody that holds a coach or economy ticket. They're just not going to do it. You're going to wind up paying more, or you're going to, which I think with me, I wound up taking that other flight. I had to, and I think I paid a $50 difference. But then once I got home, I called and said, hey, is there anything you can do for me for the inconvenience? And I got additional miles because, again, because of the status that I have, I typically fly with them and they know that I also always fly first class. So they do take care. The airlines will take care of you as a first class passenger. And again, you are paying more, but here's another great example. I was flying out of Orlando to fly to Indianapolis. I had a connecting flight in Charlotte. And this was before I got my trusted traveler thing from the TSA. So with that, I wound up going on and I had to go through the regular TSA line. And what happened was I wound up going in and I was in behind this huge line. One of the TSA people let me go a little bit, ahead of the game because again, it just, even though I got to the airport 2.5 hours early, it still wasn't enough time. By the time I got to the tram to go to the actual gates here in Orlando, I was running to the gate and the one flight attendant was locking the door behind the flight. Myself and there was another guy who was running behind me that also had to be on the flight, and the flight attendant was kind of rude. He goes, it's too late, you guys got here late, what's your name? And I gave him my name so he could put me on another flight, and he said, okay, come with me. And the guy who ran up behind me said, well, what about me? And he goes, well, she was our last first class passenger, so you're going to have to wait. So he walked me through the line. I was able to get my seat and still make my flight, which made the day so much better. But that would not have happened had I had a coach ticket. Okay. So again, there is, and again, a lot of people don't like to hear that, but there is preference given if you fly first class. So regardless of what airline you're on, now I know Southwest does not have first class, but if you're going to fly on Delta, United, or American, I recommend getting a points plan and flying first class whenever you possibly can. And if you book your ticket out early enough, you do get pretty decent rates. I've gotten a first class ticket for $400 before, round trip. So, because I booked it so far in advance. And, again, you can, you're going to rack up more points. There's just a lot of different things that you can do with that. And again, it does make things easy when you are having to, make it where you're, again, if something goes awry. And again, more and more and more, we're seeing a lot of these things happening, whether it's weather related, something to do with the airlines, mechanical difficulties, whatever. So these are things that are going to be part of traveling moving forward. So keep that in mind. So that would be the next thing I would recommend that you do. If you have not invested in a trusted traveler to get the clearance where you can actually go through the TSA pre-check line, I recommend you do it. It's a couple $100, but it's well worth it. I think you have it for like 5 years. They do a background check on you. They check your, they do your fingerprints. They do all of that. So what's really good about that is that you get to go through a much shorter line. You can skip all of those TSA lines, which like here in Orlando, it's a madhouse every time you go. And even if you get to the airport 2 hours prior to your flight, if you don't have that, 2.5 hours is still not going to be enough, especially if they're not moving very quickly with the TSA stuff. So, and that can happen in these large airports. So I recommend getting that. That would be the next thing I would tell you. That's going to cut off a lot of travel time with travel. Since I've gotten that, I refer back to my trip from Nashville, flying there. I was able to, I didn't want to stand in line to get my because I was running so close to time, I didn't want to stand in line to check my baggage. So I went through the TSA pre-check line. They let me through. As soon as I got to the gate, I handed my luggage to the lady and said, could you please check this for me and make sure it shows up in Orlando? And she said, yes, ma'am, I will do that. So again, that's another reason why having that, it actually, from the time there's been times when I have left my house in Orlando to get to the airport, and from the time I leave my house to the time I am sitting at the gate waiting to be called for the flight, it has been literally 35 minutes. So it can save you a lot of time where that time can be spent working on other things, like maybe your presentation, or you can be working on emails or calling people or journaling, whatever it is that you typically will do in the airport. So that is another thing I would recommend. Invest in that. If you want to be a speaker, you are going to be traveling a certain percentage, so it's going to be worth the investment to do. Now, if you're traveling with other people, it can make that a little bit difficult, but usually if you're flying for business, you're more than likely flying alone. So I do recommend that wholeheartedly. So that's what I would suggest for the airlines. The other thing I would tell you is next is about hotels and for rental cars. Again, there's lots of different brands out there. IHG is a brand that if I cannot stay at an IHG hotel, it's usually because the event that I'm at, they're putting me up at another hotel, a different brand, and they're paying for it. But 9 times out of 10, I am staying at an IHG property. Anytime I travel, because I normally do my own travel, unless it's something that there's like, hey, we're coordinating that for you. Okay, fine. So with IHG, same thing. They have a rewards program. Any hotel, Marriott, Hilton, Hampton, Radisson, IHG, whoever you feel there's some brand loyalty there, you like staying at their hotels, then that's the one that you want to create a rewards program with and that you want to stay loyal to and book directly through their site. So to kind of give you an idea with IHG, they're more or less the Holiday Inn properties, but under that umbrella, if you're traveling for business and you're in a place like Columbus, Indianapolis, St. Louis, you're going to be staying at a Crowne Plaza or Intercontinental Hotel. Which is more or less their business or upscale version of their hotel. If you're at a resort area like Daytona Beach, Myrtle Beach, Panama City Beach, you're going to be staying at a Holiday Inn. And usually they're nice as well. There's nothing wrong. I don't mind staying at that particular property, but my brand of choice with them is the Crowne Plaza. There's several reasons for that. And you're going to find several reasons. Again, when you're traveling for business, try to find places that have like a business lounge or, even like for me, it's important that they have a workout room, a workout facility. What I like about IHG properties is not only do they have a facility property, but they keep it a workout facility on their property, but they keep it immensely clean. They also keep, filtered water in there, which is a big deal when you're traveling because you want to stay hydrated. So I can go in there with my water bottle and I can fill that up. As we all know, if we buy a bottle of water at the airport or at the hotel, we're paying $2 or $3 for that, where we can actually get that, in the workout rooms, typically for free. And of course, with IHG, whenever I check in, they know that what my preferences are. I don't want to be near the stairs. I want to be at least on the 3rd or 4th floor. I have specific preferences that I like. They also have a really good business center. Why is that important? Well, one time when I was traveling for a private company training event that I was doing, I had to bring handouts for everyone. I didn't have time to go and make copies. So with their facility, they had a copy machine, they had a printer. I was able to print up 20, 30 booklets, no additional cost to me at all. So that was a big deal, hugely helpful. And usually they'll have, some type of room service, or they'll have, dining in-house. And, if you're a woman, you're traveling alone, you don't want to go out, that's also really good. So there's a variety of different reasons why I like the IHG properties, but they've always taken very good care of me. The times that their hotel, maybe I needed to stay an extra night, they've been sold out. They're really good about putting me in another property and shuttle busing me over there as well. The other thing I would tell you with brand loyalty is also look for something that has like maybe airport transportation or airport shuttle, because that's also going to save you some money. It'll save you from having to take an Uber to the airport. IHG properties, Crowne Plaza, and also Intercontinental have those types of things. So think about those things with brand loyalty with your hotel. And again, make sure you're booking directly with them. I can tell you with IHG properties, I can cancel up until the night before because of the level of membership I have and not be charged, not even like a deposit or cancellation fee. So there's lots of different benefits there, but again, figure out which property you like, which one resonates with you as well. So this is the one that I like. So this is why I wanted to showcase this. And usually too, again, you can rack up a lot of points with a lot of these programs. And I will tell you, I've taken my points and there's been times where I've been able to stay, 2 or 3 nights at a hotel and not get charged anything because I'm using my points. So that's a really great benefit. And those points can rack up pretty quickly if you travel a lot. So that's what I would tell you with this. As far as rental cars are concerned, and I'm not a big fan of getting a rental car. Normally I am getting an Uber, or again, if I'm staying at an IHG property, I'll have an airport transportation shuttle to take me to and from the airport. And then I'm only taking an Uber to and from wherever I need to go. So I'm a bigger preference of because it's there when you need it, Uber or Lyft. And I've, knock on wood, I've always had very good success with that. The only thing I would share with you is that if you do go that route, always stay safe, make sure that the license plate matches and the person's name matches what's coming up on your app. But if you do rent a car, again, same thing, pick brand loyalty. If it's going to be Enterprise, Regis, Dollar Rental Car, whatever the case may be, make sure that you are staying loyal to that brand, and they will take care of you when things go wrong, believe me. And if they don't, then you just switch rental car companies. But again, keep in mind, if you ever do any of this booking through Expedia, Priceline, Hopper, any of those discount, they are not going to help you. You will need to call and cancel, get a refund, or get a discount or a credit directly through whatever they were going to hook you up with, whatever hotel, whatever rental car company. So those are some things to also keep in mind. But again, I think as long as you're doing that, you should be okay. If you feel the need, like I said, some of these people are booking not just like on American Airlines, but they're booking an alternate flight, like maybe on Delta or United. To me, that's a little too much, but if you feel comfortable doing that, great, but make sure that they're fully refundable. But again, make sure you're going directly through the airlines and stay away from anything that is non-refundable right now. Again, I don't think that what our economy is experiencing right now will be any different in 5 years, unfortunately. So just these are things to look at and be prepared for in the future. The last thing I want to talk about is staying healthy. One of the gentlemen, John Ao, he used to work with us, and I believe he's coming back on board to come and work with us. He is a travel and wellness speaker. And this is a copy. You can go to his travelbalance.net. He has a blog where he shares all sorts of really cool things about, different things that you can do to stay healthy on the road, to stay hydrated, and, making sure you're getting enough sleep. So there's lots of really cool things here on his site. He's also written a book as well, and alcohol and business trips. So there's lots of different things. So definitely check out his site. And, again, keep in mind, if you're staying at a hotel, even if you're just staying 1 or 2 nights, if you've been on a health kick, again, keep that in mind when you're eating out. That's why, like, normally if I have to order room service, I try to get like a salad or something that might be like chicken or something that would be healthy for me to eat. Because again, when you're traveling and you're eating out, there's a lot of saturated fat. There's a lot of additives in the food. And we do wind up getting, a little bit more, not dehydrated. Well, you do get dehydrated, but you also get, we have a tendency to swell just because we're traveling, we're in compressed air, environments on the plane. So he has a lot of great tips. So I would definitely say check out his blog as well. And he's also done some different media interviews too, but you can check out his blog. He also has travel tips as well. So check that out when you have time. But I do hope that this helps you as far as booking and just, things to be aware of moving forward, because again, I'm just seeing a lot of different people across the US that are posting different things about, their cancellations and about flights and about, when this other gentleman posted something about the fact that he is doing reserving flights on 2 different airlines. I was like, wow, I thought this would be a great thing to cover. So I do hope this helps. And I hope everybody is having an amazing, amazing Thursday.